Keep notes. Keep good notes.
All right.
All right. Good one. God, they're good.
Hey, these are good. Okay, so the sixth and final question tonight is one of my favorite questions. And David and I were chatting about it before we hopped on to record here. So this individual actually lives in California, but their real estate is located in Michigan, which just as a pre-explanation as to why didn't they just reach out to an attorney in California where they are locally, they're reaching out to an attorney in the state where the property is located,
Right.
just to present it that way. So this is Mift in Montcalve, California.
Oh, I love these.
I know.
Names.
And so Mift says, I live out of state. My real estate agent sold my rental home for me, telling me that the highest and best price that we could get for the home was $165,000. I was fine with that price until I found out several months later that he listed and closed the same exact property in the same exact condition for $245,000. What gives? Is this legal? And can he do this? So what David and I were talking about prior to is I just wanted to clarify that what was meant here was the agent sold the same exact property within just a few months, 2 times for 2 very different prices, and there was no renovation, remodeling, etc. done to the property. Same condition. So just for anybody else who needed the extra explanation, right, like I did.
Way to lay that one up. It's very good.
I used to be an elementary school teacher,
right.
folks, right. So sometimes we need a little extended
explanation. No,
explanation. Yep.
You did a good job. But first of all, let me just say that the actual transaction, regardless of the nature of the parties, is a form. It's called, you're flipping houses. Mm-hmm. That's what they're doing. They're flipping it in a wholesale fashion. They're right. Wholesaling the property. So for those people who aren't aware of what wholesaling is, let's just take out what the people do for a minute. The transaction is somebody bought it for one price, turned around and sold it to somebody else, bought it from one person at one price, turned around and sold it to somebody else in a very short period of time for another price. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Without doing anything to the property.
Without doing anything to the property. Mm-hmm. Found a buyer who was willing to take the property. They made, in between that transaction, they made a fee. Okay? It's called wholesaling. I don't think you can call it anything else. It's wholesaling.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with wholesaling. What's wrong with that transaction, besides that, it has nothing to do with the fact that the people are out of town living in California. It could have been here. Why that's an important, by the way, why that's important to the fact pattern is because it's really saying you have an absentee owner who's not familiar with, the day-to-day operations mm-hmm. and events that surround this property, right? So they think it's worth one thing because they're out of state. They're being told by a trusted advisor, that's the key, that it's worth one price. And then in a very short period of time, the trusted advisor turns around and sells it for another price. That trusted advisor is a sales agent, a licensed real estate sales agent. They are an agent. The seller is a principal. Principal and agency law states that there's a fiduciary relationship between the principal and the agent. The agent owes a duty to the principal, which in this case is our California seller, okay, to be forthright with them, to tell them the truth of everything that's going on with that property. That's their job, okay? There's professional rules of accountability and responsibility on behalf of that real estate agent, and ethical obligations that they completely violated, because what they did was they said, oh, we'll get, we'll sell it to them for, we'll sell it for them at a reduced price. I'll tell them it's only worth this, and then I'm going to turn around and flip it to somebody else within a very short period of time. I'm going to list it. They've done nothing to enhance the value of the property. That would have been a different scenario as well. If the the agent then represented the buyer, the new buyer, and there was more value added to the property, and that's something that we would have to find out more about, well, then that's a different story. Maybe that California former property owner doesn't have a case. But if nothing's happened, there is no change in value or status of the property, and you have that subsequent sale, I believe that agent has is accountable and should be, for lack of anything, should be sued. And the broker will be sued. I mean, those things really piss me off. I'm just going to tell you, people have a duty to their clients. And yes, people get caught up. That agent probably got caught up in the money aspect, but that's not really, they're supposed to serve their clients. So that happens to be a great question, but it only is illegal and is only problematic because of the status of the people or the person involved.
Yeah.
If you were doing it, are you a licensed real estate agent?
No.
Yeah. If you were doing that as an individual, as an investor, it's not a big deal. You may find, however, like if you should let buyers know. I don't know how you. By the way, Blair, I don't know how you feel about that. Letting buyers know that you're going to be turning around and marketing the property and getting a higher value. That is actual true wholesaling, right?
Right. There are two.
What are the rules? What are the rules there?
Right. Well, there are two camps that you can live in as a wholesaler. And personally, I've only ever wholesaled one property, and I haven't pursued any other wholesale deals because wholesaling doesn't really work with my personality and the way I do things. But there are two camps that wholesalers can live in, not to go on a wholesale tangent, but one is you completely make the seller aware that you are just going to act as that middleman wholesaler.
Right.
And that you're going to be selling it to someone else, and you're going to make some money in the middle. And you know what I mean? So the seller is aware of it, and they obviously are fine with it because they are choosing to go through with it. Right. But then there is the other camp of wholesalers who don't disclose that, and the seller is none the wiser until maybe they find out, but maybe they don't. So that type of, that's a game that I don't really care to play, which is why I just typically rehab houses or hold them as rental properties.
Right.
It can get a little sticky. But in this scenario, like you said, this agent, it really, benefit of the doubt to everybody until, everything is looked at and reviewed. But just from that paragraph that Mifton and Montcalm, I believe, wrote in, it just really looks like he got played. It really seems that way. He's in California. He's on the other side of the country.
Right.
Doesn't know the market. And
that's part of the problem. Right.
And obviously the agent didn't sell it to someone who was going to reside in the home and then months later sell it. It seems pretty clear to me that the agent found an investor who was willing to close on this sale and hold it for a little while and then turn around and sell it, because average homeowner that's going to move in with their family, they're not going to do that.
Exactly.
That's
what you have to do. So. Right. So like when you get these fact patterns and they come in daily, as I said, you have to really read through it. And when people are talking, you have to tell them, go support this, show me that. And then we have to decipher through some of these documents. But yeah, you got the gist of that one. That's not a good, it's a great question. It's just a terrible scenario for the seller. So yeah, I'd like to see what happens. Maybe I can report back on that one. But yeah, that's the world of real estate, right?
Yeah, right. The wild world of real estate.
Wild world of real estate.
Right, exactly. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for hopping on with us. Before we close, though, I'm going to have David just reiterate his contact information. If someone needs to get a hold of you, David, or anybody in your law firm, how can they reach out to you?
It's simple, 888-789-1715 or provenresource.com. That's it.
Easy enough. Easy peasy.
Yeah,
Yep.
thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, David.
Excellent.
Great.
Good night.
Yeah. Great lineup of questions tonight.
Excellent.
Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will see you on the next interview. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.